Hey guys, what is up? I'm currently in my uni room, just deleted an intro by accident, so I'm filming a new one, but today, what I'm going to show you how to make is a super cool DIY belt buckle. Enjoy watching.
RenderForest.com.
Okay, so the first thing you're going to want to make sure you have is something that you want to make a cast of. So in this case I wanted to make a belt buckle, so I sculpted this face out of Super Sculpey. Now I'll be teaching you how to make silicone molds in another video, but I used that basic process for making this. Unfortunately, as you can see, as the silicone mold dried out and contracted with this still in it, it cracked the original Super Sculpey. So be sure that you don't mind the original getting damaged if you do use this process. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is take some steel wire, or steel rods, sorry, and heat it up using a blowtorch. You're then going to want to bend it using a pair of pliers into a belt buckle shape, which you'll see at the end of this clip, which is it's very simple. It's a small rectangle with a parallel bar going to a 90-degree bend at the end, basically. So you've got somewhere for the belt to loop through, and then a hook to go into the holes on the belt. This is going to then be submerged into the cold cast resin, or into the metal if you're casting it in metal, because silicone molds can also withstand pewter temperatures and other low melting point metals. Or of course you could do a cast. This is the basic shape. Then you're going to want to measure out your resin, and also mix in your metal powder at this step. So that's this is a very important step. It's going to be a 1-to-1 ratio of metal powder to resin, and that's once the hardener has been mixed in as well. So make sure it's all weighed out accurately. Then you're going to want to take the mixture, fill in your silicone mold, and place the metal belt buckle you just made into the back of the silicone mold. If you're using glass eyes, make sure to place those in first, like I was here. When you pull it out, you'll definitely have some resin covering the glass eyes, but don't worry, that scrapes off really easily just using an X-Acto knife. Now you can see here, it's important to take your time when you're pulling it out of the mold and be really gentle, especially if it hasn't fully cured, which mine hadn't quite. So it was still a little on the weak side, so it's a lot better to take your time pulling it out of the mold and make sure nothing gets damaged. As you can see, I was very happy with the finished result, and I decided to weather it with some black spray paint. Now the way to do this is to spray on as much as possible, as quickly as possible, and while it's still wet, try and wipe as much of it off as you can. And that way it will just stay in the deep cracks and crevices of the face and give it a really nice old patinaed effect. I did this as well before polishing it in any way, so that the polishing would also take the spray paint as well as the top layer of metal off of only the high spots, and that would add to the weathered effect. I made sure that I hadn't taken the resin off the eyes at this point, which meant I didn't have to cover them with tape or anything, because the glass eyes were still protected by the layer of resin, and it's a lot easier I figured out it's a lot easier to scrape off when it's not cured fully, because at this point it had cured fully, and after I went back and scraped the resin off with the X-Acto blade, it was actually pretty difficult to scrape it off nice and cleanly without scratching the glass eyes. So I'd probably recommend scraping it off earlier and covering the eyes with tape for this step.
And that is this tutorial finished. Turned out really great. Don't forget, if you use glass eyes, you got to scratch them off at the end, scratch any excess resin off them. But I mean, it's not exactly a subtle look I've gone for here, but it's a great proof of concept. That's what it looks like on. I like it. So like, comment, subscribe. There'll be a video on how to make molds coming out soon. It's really easy stuff, and I've cast a ton of stuff with the molds, so subscribe and see it soon.
As you can see, it turned out really nicely. It would be great for making a belt or any kind of piece for cosplay. All I did afterwards, which I forgot to record, was take a brass wire brush on a Dremel and go over some of the high spots to make them shine quite a bit more and to get rid of some of that paint on the high spots. And then I scraped off the eyes with an X-Acto knife to reveal those glass eyes beneath. And it turned out really nicely. Although it's definitely an acquired taste, I'd say, you know. But as far as cosplay or making a costume goes, then this would be a really great method to use for doing it. It's fairly quick and doesn't cost much at all. I did make a second casting as well, which I decided to go in a different direction with to see how the bare metal look would look without the black weathering. And I didn't make a belt buckle out of this. Instead, I made it into a pin, really, to put on a corkboard. It looks really cool as decoration. I think I'd prefer casting it in brass next time instead of aluminium. I'm not sure that just the bare cold cast aluminium looks that good. I'm going to do another one and try painting it up using just normal coloured paints and see how that looks as far as a decoration or belt buckle. But I'm really happy with the results of this, and there's going to be plenty more videos coming out on casting and cold casting and making molds, because I've got really into it at the moment, and I'll be doing a lot of jewellery, and there's a couple other things that I'm going to be doing as well. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. That'd be great. See you in the next video.